Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. Guys, everything's good wherever you guys are. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video, guys, as always. And it's your boy back again. Look, there's some news, big news. Dmitry Bivol has come out in an interview and said that he'd be willing to go down to 168. Now, this is the first time I've heard from Dmitry Bivol that he would be, at this point, I know he said before a long time ago, but now he's actively said that he'd be willing to go down to 168 and fight Canelo, but he'd have to think about it with his team. This is very, very big news because this is something that I've from Canelo's part, I've been very strongly against because I think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous for Canelo Alvarez because like Canelo would potentially be relying on Bivol to not be at his best. I think this is a very tough fight. I know people say that at 168, maybe Canelo could beat Bivol. I'm not sure. I think that style is horrible for Canelo. And if Bivol doesn't lose his punch resistance, look, what we saw in the first fight, that Bivol ain't going to get hurt by Canelo. Bivol's pretty tough. If Canelo can't hurt him and put him away, there's a good chance Bivol outboxes him. I think Bivol now, his confidence is going through the roof. He's on another level. He's a very, very good boxer. Some people saying that Bivol's not a slick boxer and he's just got the very good basic fundamentals. Yeah, he has, but he's a slick boxer. Any boxer that doesn't get hit or doesn't get hit much, if you look at Bivol's stats, Bivol is one of the champions in the world that gets hit the least. And that's proving that Bivol doesn't get hit at all. He's got one of the best stats in terms of getting hit less from any champion. And I mean, what I'm saying is that that's a slick fighter, not a flashy fighter, not a guy that throws combinations, is explosive. That's not a flash. That's not a slick fighter. A slick fighter is somebody that can avoid punches, that has got a very good defense, that's hard to hit. That's a slick fighter. Lara, for example, in his prime, he was a slick fighter. People seem to think that Andre's a slick fighter. No. A slick fighter is somebody that doesn't get hit a lot, somebody that doesn't get caught a lot, somebody that doesn't, somebody that's very, very hard to hit and hard to get to. And Dmitry Bivol, in my opinion, fits the bill. For me, this is a tough fight. A very, very tough fight for Canelo. A fight that Canelo should probably look to avoid, especially at 168, because I don't think he has any. I don't think if he loses the fight, I think he has. Doesn't have a lot to where he doesn't have anywhere to go, in my opinion, because if he loses against Canelo, if he loses against Bivol at 168, what's the next? What can he do? Retire? Because effectively, I mean, the fights after that won't hold any big significance, really. He wouldn't be a champion. Bivol will become undisputed, and Bivol might become undisputed and vacate all the belts. He might say, forget it. Canelo might have another chance, but at the end of the day, Canelo would be seen as not the best of his era. And if someone would have come and beat him at the weight class that people said that he was unbeatable. So for me, this is a very, very dangerous move if this happens for Canelo's legacy. I think Canelo's legacy would be on the line, even though Canelo's achieved a lot, but that would be very dangerous because, like I said, then he'd effectively get beat by a man at his own weight class. And the weight class, he became undisputed because, people think that Canelo's best weight class was 168 in the sense the way he looked, the way he battered guys. And he was very destructive at 168. I actually agree with it. I think Canelo looked destructive at 168. Forget the competition because those guys were still good fighters. He battered them and he looked invincible. Plant, Smith, and Billy Joe, he was really beating him up. Like Billy Joe, he broke his eye socket. He ruined Callum Smith's arm. Caleb Plant got knocked spark out. So I mean, Canelo was looking dangerous at 168. And that's why I think Canelo. I won't say Canelo bought into his own hype because Canelo is a great fighter and there's a lot of hype around Canelo anyway because he's very good. But the point is that Canelo kind of thought he was unbeatable. He got onto that streak and he thought he could go and beat Godzilla. He felt he could go in and fight King Kong and beat King Kong, go in and fight a T-Rex, and he felt he would come out on top against a T-Rex. And he got brought down back to reality when he fought Dmitry Bivol that, hey, hang on, you may be a great fighter and you may be strong, but, there's other guys out there that are very, very good as well. So Canelo got brought back down to reality against Dmitry Bivol. A fight that many people before the fight were massively picking Canelo to win and Canelo to win emphatically. I remember people saying here in the UK, nah, Bivol, he'll put up a good fight, but Canelo will do him. And this was the general opinion of a lot of people. So for me, Canelo fighting Bivol at 168, man, that's a dangerous move. It's not one that I'd like to see for Canelo, just because I think there's a good chance that he might get turned over. And if he gets turned over, that's his legacy affected. In my opinion, if he's going to fight at 168 and he doesn't want to fight, if rather than fighting him at 168, he should go to 175. At least then he can say he got beat by the bigger man, rather than fighting him at 168 for all his belts. But looking at it from Bivol's angle, I can understand why Bivol wants to do that. Bivol wants to become undisputed champion. Bivol feels I've achieved he probably feels that people call me people call me a pound for pound fighter, but I've only really won one belt. I mean, can a guy with one belt be a pound for pound fighter? I don't know, man. There's guys that have achieved so much. Like Beterbiev is a 3 belt holder, and people are putting Dmitry Bivol pound for pound ahead of Beterbiev. Yeah, I know he beat Canelo, who was very high in the pound for pound rankings, but Canelo was a smaller guy. So, I mean, how do you get credit for beating when he wasn't even a champion? You beating, just because he was a pound for pound smaller guy. And that was the aura around Canelo. But yeah, I still think Beterbiev, deserves a lot more credit. Bivol pound for pound is higher, but Beterbiev is probably ranked number 1 in the light heavyweight division. He's got more belts. I mean, that's a fight that needs to happen. But yeah, I personally think I would like to see Bivol fight Beterbiev and Canelo go on and fight, other guys, because I just think it's dangerous, man. I just think it's dangerous for I just think it's dangerous for Canelo to fight him at 168. I think there's a chance that he might get turned over, and really you don't want to see Canelo get turned over. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to see Canelo get turned over by Bivol at 168. If he gets turned over at 175, fair enough. You take it on the chin and just say, look, the guy was a better man. But if he turns him over at 168, Canelo's 168 legacy will be tarnished, because then effectively you got beat by another man at 168. Because I don't think anyone at 168 beats Canelo. And I think Bivol would have a chance, because if Bivol isn't Canelo may have better conditioning, but I just think Bivol has a horrible style that's going to cause Canelo issues. I honestly think that isn't a fight that Canelo should entertain at 168. No, I really hope he doesn't, because if he does, firstly, it will be ballsy from Canelo to take on such a tough fight in his own weight division, where effectively Bivol's got all the aces. I mean, Bivol's got effectively, because if Bivol wins, people will say, wow, Bivol came down from 175 to 168 when he hasn't even fought at 168, and he beat Canelo. And people will give Bivol a lot of credit. He become undisputed, and then he could go on to become undisputed at 175. Bivol will already become an all-time great, So Canelo's got some thinking to do. He's got some thinking to do with his team, because I don't think Canelo's going to want to fight Bivol at 168. He's not, because Canelo's going to think, I lost to him at 175. I'm going to fight him at 175. Because then what happens is, if Canelo was to turn over Dmitry Bivol, Canelo gets full credit, and people will say, wow, Canelo is great. He went and avenged his loss. Whereas if Bivol comes down to 168 and Canelo does beat him, just say, then Canelo ain't going to get the credit, because people are going to say, well, Bivol was, he was basically, he was drawn. He was drawn out the way. He couldn't make the weight properly, and Canelo drained him. That's why I'm saying that I think Canelo hasn't really got a lot to achieve. He hasn't got a lot to gain fighting at 168. Canelo needs to fight that man at he needs to fight him at 175. Otherwise, not fight him at all, I think. Because I think fighting that guy at 171, it's too dangerous. As far as I'm concerned, it's just too dangerous. I think Canelo should stay away from him at 168. But I wouldn't be surprised, because I think money, promoters, Bivol not wanting to fight Canelo might just get Canelo to fight him at 168, because there may be a more intrigue. I remember Eddie Hearn on the show, the Zone show, and he said that the guy that I forgot his name, Barack, was basically saying to Eddie Hearn that there'll probably be more interest and more intrigue Canelo fighting him at 168, because people looked at the fight at 175 and it wasn't close, and people think, what could Canelo really do at 175 to make that competitive? And probably not a lot. So people probably think it's a much more competitive fight at super middle. So yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, let me know what you think. Dmitry Bivol willing to fight Canelo at 168. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.